Okay.
All right. The Alshech Academy is 21st day of the 2nd of Adar, and we are in the halachas of Shabbos. We're holding the laws of Kiddush. Tina Kiddush b'beis haknet. The law of making Kiddush in a shul. Those who have the minhag to make the contact to make Kiddush in shul Shabbos night after davening. Like they did in the times of the Talmud. And the reason why they made Kiddush in the times of the Talmud is because the rabbis established to make Kiddush in the shul for those guests who were in town who ate and drank in the shul so that they could hear Kiddush. Sometimes they could feel out the application of Kiddush. Even though these days we don't have guests who eat in the Beit HaKnesses, the rules that the rabbis established, they haven't been annihilated. There's still reason to keep them. Even if the reason's not there anymore, we still keep the rules that were enacted. So, and this is the reason for those places those shuls that have the minhag to make Kiddush in the shul these days. This is the reason. And places where everybody are Pnei Torah, they're able to learn. They learn Torah, and everybody makes Kiddush in their homes. In order to keep the mitzvah of making Kiddush in the place of the meal, that's a concept to make that the place where you eat, that's where you should make Kiddush. Yoseph, so in those places, it's better that they don't hold on to this enactment of making Kiddush in the shul. And so is the minhag. That's how we conduct ourselves in Eretz Yisrael. Mihu, however, in the places where they don't learn Torah, there are those members of the shul that they don't make Kiddush in their homes. In those places, they have a mitzvah to make Kiddush in the Beit HaKnesses, in the shul. So that those who don't make Kiddush in hopes could still fulfill the obligations, making Kiddush from the Torah. Where some people say that making Kiddush on wine is from the Torah. And the person who makes Kiddush in the shul, he shouldn't taste from the wine, he shouldn't drink from the wine and make Kiddush on. Only he should give to a child that reached the age of chinuch, of training in Kiddush, because you don't make Kiddush only in the place of where you have a meal. And it's good enough for this child that reached the age of learning, of training to keep the mitzvahs, that he should taste just the drop. Because the only reason why you're tasting is so that the bracha that the shliach tzibur made by Pri Koven shouldn't be a bracha for no reason. And therefore, by the child tasting a drop, we fulfill the obligation. However, if the person that made the kiddush drinks revius, which is a measurement from the cup, from the kiddush cup, then it's fitting for himself to drink. Shu mayel b'makom suda, since drinking a revis of wine is considered to be a meal, in the place of a meal, and fulfills the obligation of drinking in the place of a meal. Dine kiddush ala yayin, the laws of making kiddush on wine. Mitzvahs HaKiddush below Shabbos he, mitzvahs min ha'aseh min HaTorah. The mitzvah of making kiddush on Shabbos night is a mitzvah from the Torah. Shnamar, like it says in Zachar Yom Shabbos l'katrei. Remember the day of Shabbos to sanctify it. Kolamer, to say, Zechruhu zichas HaShabbos kedusha. Remember it by remembering its praise. Zichas shevach for kedusha. Remember its praise and its holiness. And you have to sanctify it when Shabbos enters. That means, remember remember with words that the greatness of the holiness of the day and its loftiness. By remembering its holiness and its loftiness, that's how you sanctify the day. That's how you remember it. Kaddish min ba'od yom. Make kiddush when it's still day. If mutal ispal arvis kaddish hakiddush shal Shabbos me'od yom. It's permissible to daven mariv and to make kiddush of Shabbos when it's still light outside. Achar plaga mincha le'achol miyad. That is after plaga mincha and to eat afterwards, which is an hour and a quarter of zmanis. We talked about this before, of before shkia, an hour and a quarter of set time. Because we rely on those who hold, on those poskim that hold that the adding to Shabbos from the weekday, meaning you start Shabbos earlier when it's still week and end Shabbos into the following week, that this is from the Torah, obligation for the Torah. Since we hold that this is from the Torah, and therefore you're able to make kiddush when it's still light outside. Even those who hold differently, that the addition of Shabbos is from the rabbis. You can rely on the Das Mordechai. That even those who hold that the addition of Shabbos, the Tzevah Shabbos is from the rabbis. That you're able to fulfill your application of Kiddush in this added time. Since after this you're going at some point you can come to the obligation of the Torah.
So basically you can bring Kiddush and Shabbat early.
You bring Shabbos early and you could daven Mariv and make Kiddush early. Because time comes automatically. Eventually it's going to come. The time of Shabbos will come eventually. So therefore you could sanctify it earlier, and by the time it comes to you, it's already been sanctified. However, how? It's good that you draw on the meal, even if by the time you finish the meal, it's still before or the time that Shabbos comes in. You should draw on the meal until after nightfall, and after then, and when it's already the night of Shabbos, you should eat olive size of bread, so that therefore you could eat the meal when it's Shabbos proper. Fill the obligation of eating on Shabbos when it's Shabbos proper. Eat Isur Te'ima Kodem HaKiddush. The restriction of tasting before tasting anything before you make Kiddush. Since the sun has started to set on Erev Shabbos, it's forbidden to taste anything before you make Kiddush. And it's forbidden to do any type of work. Even even the restrictions of the Rabbanan, you're not allowed to do once night sun starts to set. However, since our minhag is the whole is like the what the Kohanim hold, take of Achar Shketzachama Maschal Ben Shmash. The second the sun starts to set, then starts the time period of Ben Hashmashas, which is the time of uncertainty. Then Shlosh is a very meal, and Ben Hashmashas continues for a third of a meal, three quarters. Sorry, 3/4 of a meal. That's which is 13.5 minutes. Also, the term of Kiddush, it's forbidden to taste anything before Kiddush, even water. Even if you started when it was permissible, when it's still daylight, you started a meal. Once the sun starts to set, it becomes forbidden. And therefore you have to pause, and spread a cloth over the food. And then he makes Kiddush. And if they were drinking wine already when it was still light, the beginning. You only make the bracha of Kiddush. Without making the bracha bari priya gafen. V'achar Kiddush, and after you make Kiddush, Mevarchim Hamaitzi, you make the bracha Hamaitzi. Kiddush bein nasayim hafei hefsek, because the Kiddush in between is considered a pause, and therefore you make the bracha of Hamaitzi again, even if you made it before. Yesh chaykim v'ayimim she'ein Kiddush nechshav lahafsek. So brachos lakan. There are those who argue and say that the Kiddush is not considered a pause, a break. And when you come and therefore and when you're in doubt of a bracha, when it comes to brachas, when you're in doubt, we are lenient, and therefore, according to that, this other opinion, you shouldn't make a bracha mitzvah again. However, someone is very thirsty for water. It's permissible for this person to drink water in the time period that's known as Ben Hashmashos in order to quench his thirst. There's a double doubt, therefore, when there's a double doubt, we're always lenient. Because maybe one doubt is maybe that halacha follows like Rabbeinu Tam, who holds that the going for 3 mil and a quarter after Shkia, that's when the day ends. And if we're going to find the whole that the halacha is according to the Geonim, which is the way how we conduct, which that is only 3/4 of a mil, which is 13.5 minutes. There's another suffix. Shema halacha Rabbi Yossi. Maybe the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi this field late, which he holds. Shkol meshach asman the bein hashmashos to Rabbi Yehuda yomhu. The entire time of bein hashmashos of Rabbi Yehuda, it's all day. Rak acha came maskal bein hashmashos kerf ayin zel nichnas say yoyte. Only after is at the end of the bein hashmashos period, which meaning at the end of the 13.5 minute period of bein hashmashos, only then they end like the blink of an eye. That one moment is day and the next moment is night. Therefore, you have a double suffix from the Rabbanan, double doubt from the Rabbanan. And therefore, you're able to, if you're in a place where the person is very thirsty, they could be lenient and drink to quench the thirst. That is water. If he forgot and he ate before Kiddush, even if he ate a full meal, he has to make Kiddush the second he remembered. From the moment he remembers until he makes Kiddush, he's not allowed to taste anything. After make kiddush, even if he ate a full meal, after he makes kiddush, he should eat an ounce size of bread, so that he could be, so it could be a place, so he could have kiddush in the place of the meal, since eating the meal has to be, in order to be fulfilled the obligation of eating of a meal in the place of kiddush, the meal has to be after you make kiddush. Hachanos l'kiddush, preparations for kiddush. When he comes Shabbos night, comes home Shabbos night to his house. Shahar to make kiddush and eat right away. Like we say in Psachim, Masaktas Psachim. You should remember Shabbos to sanctify it. You should remember it on wine, but in its entrance, meaning the entrance of Shabbos. That's to say, take a nichnas lo Shabbos right away when Shabbos comes in. The night of Shabbos comes in. Mitzvah kacha al yayin. It's a mitzvah to make kiddush on wine. How can leimer cut to make kiddush shama aleichem al chasharis for chulu? It's our custom to say before kiddush shalom aleichem, peace unto you, the ministering angels. Melech malchei amlachem kadosh baruch hu. V'lo mi melech, and not to say mi melech, which is what the Ashkenazim say. Afterwards, Yom they say the pasuk ki malach v'tzav l'shmerecha b'chol terecha Hashem yishma tzitzecha v'echa me'at avad olam. V'achar kach psukei sheschayil, you say the psukim of sheschayil, which is the end of Sefer Mishlei. Atun lo mi priyadeh, which is 22 psukim going to the each going to the Hebrew alphabetic order. Tzarich l'pres mapa al shulchan tachas hapas, mapa acheres prusa Allah. And you're supposed to spread out a sheet under the bread or a board, like a lot of people do. For mapa, and another sheet was spread over on top of the bread, top of the challah. After it's Yom HaShishi v'Eichul Hashem v'ad chotzvam, standing, you should say it. Because Peragafen, Brachas HaKiddush. Afterwards, make the bracha of Peragafen and the bracha of Kiddush. And it seems shekam im yesh al shulchan ukos yesh l'kaisam. If he has different types of cakes or cookies on the table, he should cover them. Shmekim she'av hapas haba b'chisnin hu muktam b'pasuk. Because even in sweets, it's brought in the pasuk. The pasuk that mentions the praise of the seven fruits of the land of Eretz Yisrael. Wheat is mentioned before grapes, and therefore it's more praiseworthy. Therefore, in general, you're supposed to make a bracha on either mezainis or hamotzi before hagefen. This is inclusive on all types of cakes and cookies, all different types of sweets. It's inclusive in this. Akati shaychatam shelo yiapas bushasai. So therefore, since cake is inclusive in this pasuk before wine, you still have the reason that the bread shouldn't be embarrassed by making a bracha of a geffen before. So therefore, you have to cover it with covering. There are a lot of tables in the room. And everybody's listening hears kiddush from one person making this person's making on his table. Seems that everybody needs to cover the bread that's on their table. Even though kiddush is not being made on that particular table, this bread on that table should still be covered. There are some who have the custom saying tefillah, a prayer, before Atika Kadisha, before Kiddush, which they say after the Pisgum, the song that Ari Salachai wrote of asking azam b'shvachim after they say this tefillah. And those who are without saying the end of this tefillah, which is Kinan Mikol Tzav Ika Bisha, Tesiv Lana China Vechizda Vechayaricha Mazari Rachame. Mishum, because the came along, Alish Al Adam Tzach Shabbos. The person asks for his needs on Shabbos, you're asking for your needs. Those who don't withhold from saying them, because the Chachamim, the sages, have not forbidden to pray, to daven, only from something a new prayer, that they're not used to saying on a regular basis. Shum Einik Shabbos, because of Einik Shabbos. So that you shouldn't bring the person to saying that this new prayer that you're not used to say shouldn't bring a person to pain and worry in his heart on Shabbos. Tradition that a person says every week, you say the same thing on a weekly basis, constantly. Shabbat damilame, it's fitting to say. That's what others hold, and therefore they say the whole entire prayer. Alshech yidei aviv v'yidei ima imheim b'chayim. Person should kiss the hands of their father and their mother if they're still alive. Even the time shem aviv v'ima yinashek yideim. If his father or mother is there in the same house that he's eating, the person should kiss their hands. Ein tzarich leimar kodem haKiddush l'shem yichud. You don't have to say l'shem yichud for the sake of unifying before you make Kiddush. Because the bracha itself is the intention of the mitzvah. And in itself, it's embedded within the intention of Shem Yuchad. It's embedded within the bracha itself. So too is all the mitzvahs that the bracha, you make the bracha before you do the actual mitzvah. Bracha atzma here kavana shal mitzvah. Bracha itself is the intention of the mitzvah. Chazahu meikar din, and all this is from the main din, the actual din. However, one who does want to say the Shem Yichud, within the Shem Yichud, you shouldn't say things that are dependent on machlokes, different things. Going for example, he starts saying Shem Yichud, and within it he says, I've come to keep the mitzvah of the Torah to make Kiddush. According to the most poskim, most authorities, he already fulfilled this obligation of making Kiddush when he said the Vaychul Hashamayim Va'aretz in Ma'ariv. So if he says to keep the mitzvah safe from the rabbis to make Kiddush on wine, he shouldn't say that either. Because those who say making Kiddush on wine is from the Torah, even if he davened Ma'ariv already. So therefore, you shouldn't say any of these versions that's dependent on different opinions. Minik, the contact is one who makes Kiddush or makes Havdalah at the end of Shabbos on wine. Before he makes the bracha peri koven, savri moder none. And those who hear him answer l'chaim. The next day you say the Bahari Kodesh. This means is established on lofty reasons. The Divrei Chazal and the words of Chazal. Also to awaken those who are listening, that they should pay attention to the words of that the one who's making the bracha is saying. They should pay to the words he's saying in order for them to fulfill the applications, in order to fill out. of like fulfilling your application by someone that says a bracha. In order to fulfill the application, you have to pay attention and have in mind the words he's saying. Those are obligated in Kiddush, and the law of listening is like he said himself. One who hears Kiddush or Haftal from his friend, he fulfills his congregation from the din that one who hears, it's like he said it himself. Ashkenazi sheshama Kiddush Haftal misfarti bebat hasfardi. An Ashkenazi person who heard Kiddush Haftal from a Sfardi with a Sfardi accent, he fulfills the application. So Sfardi Hashemer Kiddush Haftal me Ashkenazi, a Sfardi who hears Kiddush Haftal from Ashkenazi, Ima Shemer Baki Umevim Bematba Ashkenazi. If he's an expert and understands the Ashkenazi accent, Goyim, for example, he regularly davens with Ashkenazim. He hears the reading of the Torah in their accent. He fulfills his application of Kiddush and Haftalah. If he does not understand the accent of the Ashkenazim, he does not fulfill his obligation of hearing Kiddush Haftalah. Shadin Hashmer Ka'oina, Eina Elkushu Mevim Ma Shemem Piyam Vayach. The din of Hashmer Ka'oina, one who hears it's like he fills his application. This is only if he understands what he hears from the person making the blessing. According to this, if the Ashkenazi does not understand the accent of Ashkenazi, which is Ashkenazi outside of Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael, since the Ifrit is built on the Sephardi accent, so even if you're Ashkenazi, most people understand the Sephardi accent. But Ashkenazi in outside Eretz Yisrael who doesn't know Ifrit might not. If that Ashkenazi won't understand the Sephardi accent, then the same halacha applies, seemingly that he fulfills his obligation, and he has to hear from Ashkenazi accent. The people who hear, those who hear, are listening to the bracha of Kiddush, and they have intention to fulfill the obligation of Kiddush by hearing the Kiddush saying from the person who's making Kiddush. They should not answer Baruch Hu Baruch Shemai after the mentioning of Hashem's name in the Kiddush. Women are obligated in the mitzvah of Kiddush from the Torah because Zachar, remembering and guarding Shabbos, were said in one word, were said in the same time at Mount Sinai. That's to say, this is to tell you, Kol sheyeshna b'shmira, yeshna b'schira. Dahainu shmir mikol, Kol sheinu b'shmira, dahainu shmir mikol melachas Shabbos. Anyone who is obligated in the guarding of Shabbos, of the laws of Shabbos, they also have the obligation in remembering, which is the concept of Kiddush. Since the women are obligated in guarding Shabbos, because all mitzvahs of restrictions, even the ones that are dependent on time, women are obligated to keep them. Therefore, they're also obligated in remembering of the remembrance from the Torah, even though remembrance is a positive mitzvah, which is restricted at a time, and usually a mitzvah obligation that's restricted at a time, women are usually non-obligated. But since this is the obligation of remembering Shabbos is associated with the restriction, which women are obligated, so therefore they're also obligated in remembering Shabbos, which is the mitzvah of Kiddush. Since women are obligated in the mitzvah of Shabbos, they are able to fulfill they're able to have a mind on the Kiddush, they're able to make Kiddush for men. Since they are also obligated from the Torah, the mitzvah of Kiddush, just like the men. And the man that already davened Ma'ariv, Kiddush in a Torah betfilah, and ready to fulfill his obligation of Kiddush from the Torah with his davening. Even so, Kiddush as Isha he's able to make Kiddush for a woman that still which didn't daven. Since all of Israel are guarantors one for another. And since they're guarantors for each other, they're able to fulfill the obligation for another. Even a woman that fulfills the obligation of Kiddush on a cup of wine, she's able to fulfill the obligation for her friend. Came along, all the brachas, all bracha mitzvahs, even though a person already fulfilled this obligation, he's able to fulfill the obligation for another by making the bracha for the other person. So do Kiddush of the day. Shanika Kiddush Rabbah, which is called Kiddush Rabbah, the great Kiddush. Women are obligated, maybe Shabbos, maybe Yom Tov, both on Shabbos and also on Yom Tov. A child that had not reached the age of the obligation of mitzvahs. She does not fulfill the obligation of others by making Kiddush. She can't. Even if he did not daven Ma'ariv, still cannot fulfill the obligation of others by making Kiddush. And a man or a woman that fulfilled that daven Ma'ariv and they had in mind to fulfill their obligation of Kiddush in the davening, in the prayers, that they're not obligated to make Kiddush on wine only from the rabbis. Even so, a child is not able to fulfill the application for them on a cup of wine. However, who potem kol mitzvahs, since he is not obligated in the mitzvahs, so therefore, since he's not obligated in the mitzvahs, even if it's from a rabbanan, he can't fulfill the mitzvah for them. A child that he's going to become bar mitzvah, he's going to become into the obligation of fulfilling mitzvahs on Shabbos night. That is his 13th birthday. It's not fitting for him to make Kiddush on the cup before it gets dark. Only it's upon him to wait until to make Kiddush on a cup, make Kiddush on wine until it's for sure night, and then he should make Kiddush. Then he should make Kiddush to fulfill his application. Since according to most authorities, when he's still a child, that is before his 13th birthday, he's completely obligation free from fulfilling for mitzvahs. Since he's not obligated to make a mitzvah to make Kiddush when he's 12, which is when it's still day, therefore he shouldn't make Kiddush yet. Called the mitzvah of training, of chinuch, is only upon the father. Just like it's a mitzvah for the father to train his child, so too it's a mitzvah for the father to train his daughter. Hilkach, therefore, when it's still day and when he's still a child, halachically he's still a child, he's not able to fulfill his obligation of making Kiddush that he will be obligated once night comes. Shulach sheyagdal, that he will be yagdal once he becomes an adult, which is at night time. Therefore, he has to wait until it becomes for sure night. Then he can fulfill his obligation making kiddush as an adult, which now he's obligated. He couldn't fulfill obligation earlier when it was still day, since he wasn't obligated then. A child that has become 13, reached his 13th year. 14th year. Once he's 13, that's his 14th year of existence. He could fulfill the obligation of others' obligation of kiddush by making kiddush for them. Even though we don't know if he for sure started to sprout 2 ears. Which are the signs of becoming an adult. Because we have a strong chazaka establishment. Anybody who's come to the age of 13, any male that's reached the age of 13, chazaka shehevi simanim. It's established that we have a chazaka that he brought the signs already, and by female it's by the age of 12. And therefore he fulfills the obligation of the Torah. He's able to fulfill the obligations of other, even in the mitzvah of the Torah. Asuma chayav b'chol mitzvahs of Torah. Blind person is obligated all the mitzvahs in the Torah. Kaddish kiddush hayayim la'itzi deichayva, as Kopnei by say. He makes kiddush of the day of Shabbos to fulfill the obligation of his whole entire household. Kaisa kiddush, the kiddush cup. Kiddush hiya al kais yayim malei. Kiddush should be made on a full cup of wine that holds no less than a quarter of a lug. The cup should hold at least a quarter of a lug. Kushmani gram, when you count in grams. The wine should be live. It shouldn't be too watered down. Just before Kiddush, he should add a bit of water. And the wine shouldn't be incomplete. Meaning that if someone drank from the cup of wine, then it's considered damaged, and you should not make kiddush anu. Meaning, and the cup should be complete. Meaning,
you have to fill the cup again.
Well, if you drank from it, then
say someone did kiddush, drank from it, and then somebody else comes in and wants to do kiddush.
Yeah, then you fill it up again. That's how to make sure that if the cup is damaged, if it's pogum, the solution is to pour more wine from the bottle,
right,
and then that fixes it. But then there's another thing that the cup itself needs to be complete, meaning there should be no cracks in the cup, no cracks or holes. And the cup needs to be washed from inside and outside. And the person should take the cup in his right hand without help from the left hand. Meaning his right hand has to hold the cup without it being assisted with the left hand. And he says the psuk of Yom HaShishi V'Chulu, which is the story of the completion of the 6 days of creation. Mu'mat standing.
Does he say why you can't use the left hand to lift up the cup?
He doesn't say here, but the reason is because a mitzvah you want to do with the right hand. You want to do mitzvahs.
Even left-handed?
I'm not sure because there's actually been a whole entire sefer written when a lefty does something with the left hand and when it does with his right hand. There are certain things that even a lefty does with the right hand. I'm not sure exactly what, but there's a whole entire book that's been written on when a lefty does something with the right hand and when not. I'm not an expert on it, so I'm not able to tell you for sure what yeah and what not. V'achar kach omer brei priya kofen, they makes a bracha brei priya kofen. V'achar kach brichas kiddush, they makes a special bracha of the kiddush that sanctifies the day. Neig lomet kaddish moment sima kiddush, and those who have the minhag to stand during kiddush, some people have the contact to sit down when they make kiddush, but if your minhag is to stand. After he makes kiddush, you should sit down and drink. The drinking should be by sitting. And to drink a mouthful, which is a mouthful is defined as if you push your cheek to one side and you fill that space, that vacuum of the puffed up cheek with wine, that's called a mouthful. Those who are surrounding, those other people sitting at the table, should taste from the wine. Also plastic or minai of a cup that's made from plastic or thick paper. You're able to use it to make kiddush. Shum said Kelivan Vehu, and because of the pasuk, this is my God, and I beautify him. Hitna lefne lefana b'mitzvahs. It's fitting to beautify the mitzvah and make kiddush on a cup of either silver or gold cup. Even though you're technically able to make it on plastic or a thick paper cup, but it's more fitting and you're purifying the mitzvah to make it on a cup of gold or silver. Or glass, some people make it on glass. Te'ima mikos ha-kiddush, tasting from the cup of kiddush. Kaddish al yayin, one who makes kiddush on wine, tzarich shita mimenu k'malei l'ugmav, he has to drink from a mouthful, a cheekful, as we mentioned before. Shu reifefis, which this cheekful is a majority of a revius. If he did not taste, if he did not take a full mouthful in, lo yotza, he did not fulfill his obligation of making kiddush. Mihu, however, in tam echet min hashomim shir k'loim lugmav, if one of the people listening drank a mouthful, a cheekful, yotza techa vaise, then even if he didn't drink a cheekful, he fulfills his obligation. Meaning at least one person has to drink a cheekful of wine, or for the kids for them to fulfill the obligation of making kiddush. Mitzvah min amuvcha l'chiyuv mitzvah. The choicest way to fulfill the obligation of the mitzvah of kiddush, yitma mesavim b'mikos ha-kiddush, is that the people, whoever is there that they fulfill obligation to the kiddush, they should all taste from the cup that kiddush was made on. However, if they suspect that the person that made kiddush, he might be sick, and those who are surrounding him might get hurt from if they drink from the cup after him. Something will happen to them. And also if he's internus and he's not able to drink from the cup that his friend drank from, it bothers him to drink from a cup that someone else drank from. In tzarich he doesn't have to drink from the cup. Sveikis be'enya ha-kiddush. Doubts in regarding kiddush. Im kiddush ala kois. If you made kiddush on the cup, kodin shitam nishbach hayayin, Before he tasted this wine spilled, Yoseph miyad kais achar shal yayin v'verch olav peri govim levad. Should right away bring another cup and just make the bracha peri gofen. Yishta and drink. Ain't lechatz v'kadosh. He doesn't have to go back and make the whole time the other blessing of kiddush. If he had in mind when he made the bracha peri gofen on kiddush to drink afterwards more wine, and the wine was up before him on the table. He doesn't have to make the bracha peri gofen again. Only he should fill up the cup right away and drink right away. So too is the law. If someone made kiddush on the cup, before he had a chance to drink, he paused and talked a bit. He should go back and make the bracha peri gofen again. And so he doesn't have to go back and make the whole time kiddush again, just a bracha peri gofen. Misha kiddush al kais, one who made kiddush on the cup. And when he made bracha, when he made the kiddush, he thought that he was making kiddush on wine. After he finished making kiddush, he discovered that there was water that he made kiddush on. He has to bring a cup of wine and go back and make kiddush again. So too if he found that it was vinegar that was in the cup. It seems that he has to go back and make kiddush on the wine again. Even though kiddush making kiddush on wine is from the Rabbanan, what it's in it, because any mitzvah from the Rabbanan that he did not do as the rabbis have established, he goes back and makes it and does it again the way how it was established by the rabbis. Because the mitzvah of the rabbis, you're obligated about them from loy tasser, not to turn away from what the rabbis said. And you don't have a bracha. You don't have a bracha making for no reason. You're not making a bracha for no reason by going back and making the kiddush again. One who's in doubt if he made kiddush on a cup Shabbos night. He should he should say the psukim v'chul hashamayim v'aretz. He shouldn't say the psukim of Shamu b'nei Yisrael as a Shabbos. After he should say Yisrael b'amuchs Hashem Shabbos k'ay onik hashvi. Tzitz aboy v'katzach zeichel l'matzeh b'reishis zeichel l'tzias mitzrayim. Say the words gladden your kingship, Shem Shabbos, those who got Shabbos v'k'ay onik, and they call it pleasure. And Hashvi or Tizavah, you want it on the seventh day, and you sanctify it. Remembrance of the creation of 6 days of creation, and remembrance of Tzias Mitzrayim, which this is from the davening. It's an extract of davening the davening that we daven on Shabbos. Because from the Torah, you don't have you're not obligated to say the tradition of Kiddush was Hashem's name. Only to mention the sanctity of Shabbos was praise. And you don't have to go back and make Kiddush on a cup was mentioning Hashem's name. Since you're in doubt that you made Kiddush, and when it comes to blessings, if you doubt the blessing, we are lenient. So you're lenient that you don't make the person go back and make Kiddush was mentioning Hashem's name. There are those who say that making Kiddush on Yom Tov by night are only from the rabbis. And there are those who argue on that. A lot of rabbis argue on this. They hold, these authorities hold, that even Kiddush If Yom Tov is from the Torah, K'mar Kiddush on Shabbos, just like Kiddush on Shabbos. Chodesh, and according to all opinions, Hanashim Chayevis b'Kiddush Yom Tov, women are obligated in the Kiddush of Yom Tov, K'mar Hanashim, just like men. If it's from the Torah or from the rabbis, either way, the same application applies to women. Im Chol Yom Tov be'erev Shabbos. If Yom Tov falls out on Erev Shabbos, he only has 1 cup of wine. He should make Kiddush on the cup on Yom Tov. Shabbos, and by the time Shabbos arrives, more wine did not appear for him. He should make Kiddush on the bread.